Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Go pray. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Srimad Bhagvatam, 7th canto, chapter 9. Prahlad pacifies the Lord with prayers. Text 13. Sarvehami vidikaras tava sattva dhamno.
Sarveyami vidikaras tava sattva dhamno.
Brahmadayo vayam viveshana chodvijanta.
Brahmadayo vayam viveshana chodvijanta.
Chemaya bhuta utatma sukhaya chasya.
Shemaya bhutaya utatma sukhaya chasya.
Vikridatam bhagavato ruchiravatare.
Vikridatam bhagavato ruchiravatare.
Sarveyami vidikaras tava sattva dhamno.
Sarveyami vidikaras tava sattva dhamno.
Brahmadayo vayami veshana chodvijanta.
Brahmadayo vayami veshana chodvijanta.
Chemaya bhutaya utatma sukhaya chasya.
Shemaya bhutaya utatma sukhaya chasya.
Vikridatam bhagavato ruchiravatare.
Vikridatam bhagavato ruchiravatare.
Sarveyami vidikaras tava sattva dhamno.
Sarveyami vidikaras tava sattva dhamno.
Brahmadayo vayami veshana chodvijanta.
Brahmadayo vayami veshana chodvijanta.
Chemaya bhutaya utatma sukhaya chasya.
Shemaya bhutaya utatma sukhaya chasya.
Vikridatam bhagavato ruchiravatare.
Vikridatam bhagavato ruchiravatare. Sarveyami
Vaishnavis, Sarve, all. He, certainly. Ami, these. Vidikara, executors of orders. Tava, your. Sattva-dhamna, being always situated in the transcendental world. Brahma-adaya, the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma. Vayam, we. Iva, like. Isha, oh my Lord. Na, not. Cha, and. Udvijanta, who are afraid of your fearful appearance. Shemaya, for the protection. Bhutaye, for the increase. Uta, it is said. Atmasukaya, for personal satisfaction. By such pastimes. Cha, also. Asya, of this material world. Vikridatam, manifested. Bhagavata, of your lordship. Ruchira, very pleasing. Avatarai, by your incarnations. Translation. How attentive you all are. The materialists would argue you've all lost your individuality. But actually, the Vaishnava Acharyas will explain you're in the process of regaining your real individuality. So to a crazy person, healthy persons look strange. And to healthy persons, crazy persons look strange. This problem will never be resolved. Krishna explains that in the Bhagavad Gita. Dvabhuta sarga lokesmin daiva svaevacha. Since time immemorial, since the beginning of the cosmos, there are always these two types of persons. All right. Oh my Lord, All the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, are sincere servants of your lordship, who are situated in a transcendental position. Therefore, they are not like us, Prahlad and his father, the demon Hiranyakashipu. Your appearance in this fearsome form is your pastime for your own pleasure. Such an incarnation is always meant for the protection and improvement of the universe. Purport. Prahlad Maharaj wanted to assert that his father and the other members of his family were all unfortunate because they were demoniac, whereas the devotees of the Lord are always fortunate because they are always ready to follow the orders of the Lord. When the Supreme Lord appears in this material world in his various incarnations, he performs two functions: saving the devotee and vanquishing the demon. Pritchanaya sadhunam, vanashaya chadushkritam. Lord Nrsingadev, for example, appeared for the protection of his devotee. Such pastimes as those of Nrsingadev are certainly not meant to create a fearful situation for the devotees, but nonetheless, the devotees, being very simple and faithful, were afraid of the fierce incarnation of the Lord. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj, in the following prayer, requests the Lord to give up his anger. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're in the midst of an intense situation. Yes, Hiranyakashipu has been dispatched. That of itself, of course, was an inconceivably intense situation. But the transcendental drama has not ended there. What you have to deal with now is Lord Nrsingadev's anger. Every time Lord Nrsingadev's appearance day comes, we often explain how Lord Nrsingadev is the ultimate horror movie. You can see that conditioned souls want to relish the perverted rasa of horror, because ghastliness in its perfect form, that flavor, exists in the spiritual world. Otherwise, how could it be in the material world? Goriness and horror and that's also one of the rasas, secondary rasas. The perverted reflection of that rasa is in the material world, where conditioned souls will work hard and pay their money, hard-earned money, to go see a horror movie. Because they want to relish that flavor. So Lord Nrsingadev is the ultimate horror movie. And the way he finished off Hiranyakashipu was the ultimate horror. Hiranyakashipu stretched out on Nrsingadev's lap. Nrsingadev rips open his abdomen with his nails, pulls out his intestines. Doesn't get any more horrible than that. But Prahlad knows this is the most beautiful sight. Because Prahlad is seeing with spiritual vision. He's not afraid of Lord Nrsingadev. He is confident of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's affection. And that is something that we need to develop as we progress on the bhakti path. Prahlad Maharaj was not intimidated at all about Lord Nrsingadev's supremely fearful form. He was confident this is the unlimitedly affectionate Supreme Personality of God. When will we develop that kind of confidence as we go through our sojourn on the way back to Godhead? We're so quick to blame Krishna, aren't we? I was misunderstood. I was not appreciated. I was neglected. This devotee did this to me. That devotee did that to me. We're so quick to find an excuse to drop our service or drop our chanting because we feel we weren't dealt with properly. And ultimately, although we don't say it, we blame Krishna. How could you let this happen to me, a sincere devotee? A devotee who everyone knows has given his all in all, without a doubt. Yet there was some misunderstanding. I sacrificed so much for Krishna, no one noticed. What could be worse than that? Prahlad is showing complete confidence. My Lord can appear in any form he likes. Still, I know he's unlimitedly affectionate. So here you have the situation of this inconceivably unlimited manifestation of anger. Hiranyakashipu is now dead. But the situation has not ended. What are you going to do about Nrsingadeva's anger? He's roaring, roaring, roaring. The whole universe is being shaken. The demigods are there, headed by Lord Brahma. This is what we chanted today. Brahma Adeya, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma. And they are Vidikara, executors of orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what it means to be a deva, demigodly. It means that you take upon your head the desires, the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is what we are attempting to do. We are attempting to shed our demoniac influences that we were born into. Maybe we were outright ferocious demons, or maybe we were nice, gentlemanly demons. Pious in our rebellion against Krishna. Still. Now, being properly situated in bhakti means you are an executor of Krishna's desires. Of course, the material world is challenging you. If you want to be a good, normal person, you become an executor of material desires. So that's the stress and strain you're always feeling, this competition. Each energy is demanding service of you. Go with the material flow. We were explaining at Melbourne Uni and also last night, a very nice program, University of New South Wales. Many happiness scholars equate happiness with the flow. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just be absorbed in something that you forget about. So much so that you forget about the passing of time, you forget about your worries, even your external circumstances. Just get into the flow or the zone. That is the ultimate of life. That's happiness. But anyone who reads Bhagavad Gita knows you have to choose which flow. Krishna explains, aparayamitasthanyam prakritim vidime brahm. There's the superior flow, spiritual energies. And there's the inferior flow. What flow do you pick? That's the proposition presented to Arjuna at the end of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna asked him, Arjuna, have you heard attentively all that I've said? Think about it and make your choice. Choose your flow. Choose how you're going to go with the flow. And that's what your life is all about. You're choosing which flow you're going to go with. Now, in the beginning stages, or even later, as you proceed into the middle phase of spiritual advancement, you feel this tug of war. That's because you're not fully established in one flow or the other. You've just left the material flow, and you're trying to establish yourself in the spiritual flow, but sometimes it feels like you've got one foot in each river. But you can be assured, the more you take shelter of Krishna, the more you take shelter of the flow of devotional service, the more this tug of war will die down. When Krishna presented to Arjuna the choice, he didn't just say, okay, here out of the blue is your decision to make. No, Krishna gave him the full background of what would happen if Arjuna chose this flow or that flow. Arjuna, if you become conscious of me, you'll pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If you don't do what I say, you'll still act. In other words, you'll be in a flow. It's one flow or the other. But you'll be acting driven by false ego. You'll be engaged in illusion. And what was Arjuna's response after hearing a summary of the consequences of each choice? Nashtamo smriti labdha. My illusion is now gone, Krishna. Kadishye vachanam tava. I will act on your orders. I'll be an executor of your desires. Krishna told him, think about it and do what you wish to do. That is the proper way to engage in the bhakti process. Think about it. Material existence, although it seems to encourage your independence, leaves you no time to think about anything deeply. As you rush here and there, not simply trying to maintain yourself in material existence, but you want to enjoy. You want to be entertained. So you're forced to scramble day after day. Weekday, weekend, there's always this scramble. As we described last night, you're turned into a happiness machine and you just grind on. Where is happiness for me? Others are happy. I'm going to be happy too. I know it's out there, material happiness, it's waiting for me. Others have it. I'll get it. So you approach relationships in that way. You approach all your social situations in that way. Indeed, you demand this of your own body and mind. Make me happy. The initial phase of the bhakti process is to give you relief from all that craziness. But that's not the ultimate end of the bhakti system, simply to give you relief from material pangs, material anxieties. No, the point of the bhakti process is to give you love for Krishna. Love begins when you start to take the desires and feelings of the beloved as your beacon, your all in all indeed. That's why the greatest devotees pray, Radha Krishna Pranamura Jugala Kishore. Radha Krishna, you're my life. To begin to make Radha and Krishna your life, that means you take their order as your life and soul. This is difficult to approach Radha and Krishna. But in the worst possible age, the most degraded time, Krishna has made approach to Radha and Krishna easy if you approach Radha and Krishna as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Never forget, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. Lord Chaitanya is Radha Krishna combined. So the most suitable way, the most expert way, the most productive way for approaching Radha and Krishna is to approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Approaching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means carrying out his order. By carrying out the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are carrying out the instructions of Radha and Krishna. Remember when Lord Chaitanya was touring South India and he came across one Brahmana who invited him to his house for lunch, and the Brahmana gave Chaitanya Mahaprabhu such a reception. His whole family engaged in bathing the feet of Mahaprabhu and drinking the water. And then the Brahmana made his plea. I can't any longer tolerate the kicks of the illusory energy. I want to go with you. Let me leave now and go with you. What was Lord Chaitanya's response? Don't speak like that. You remain at home and immerse yourself in Krishna's glories. In that way, you will see me again. In fact, if you follow these instructions, in particular this special instruction, if you follow that, not only will you see me again, but I'll always be with you. And what was that key instruction? Yare deko tade koho Krishna upadesh, ama agya guru hoya tare. Wherever you go, whomever you meet, teach the science of Krishna. There's no need, Lord Chaitanya said, to make some other radical adjustment in your life. Take this order, that in all your encounters, you try to teach, disseminate the science of Krishna. In that way, I'll always be with you. So this is the easiest way to approach Radha and Krishna. Once there was a controversy, or you say controversy. What do they say in India? Controversy or controversy?
Controversy.
In Los Angeles, at the start of the book distribution boom, just like here in Sydney, book distribution is booming more and more. Devotees are always making plans how to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desires. That his books are distributed everywhere. People read them. They're cultivated as they read them. They're getting sets, full sets of his books. So this scenario comes from around 71 or 72, when the big book distribution in ISKCON just began in San Francisco and Los Angeles. So the devotees were very enthusiastic with their youthful energies. The leader of the book distribution boom on the West Coast was someone who was a student in Oregon, and just Northwest Coast he was. And he was just walking on the street, and he was approached by a very simple but nice devotee. Devotees don't have to be complicated and sophisticated to please Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj is going to make that point in this chapter. This devotee was very simple but very sincere. He didn't have flashy shastric knowledge, but what he did know, he had firm conviction about. He had realization. So, how would he distribute books? He would stop someone and show them the Bhagavad Gita and start reciting Bhagavad Gita verses. Not perhaps the flashiest technique, but that's where he was at, and he was trying. The main thing is the heart. Technique is important too, because you do, in your heart, you want to find the best way to please Krishna. But anyway, he was going out. He got out the door. That's a major accomplishment. And so he approached this one young student, held out the Bhagavad Gita. Do you have a moment? Can you please stop? He opened the Bhagavad Gita and just read to the student. Sarvadharmam prachaja mame kam sharanam vraja. He didn't see the student anymore. Then he looked down on the ground and the student had collapsed on the ground. Just by hearing this Bhagavad Gita verse. So the student picked himself off the ground. He was stunned by hearing Krishna's order. The student brought the book. He bought the book and he ran 2 kilometers back to his hostel to read the book. So anyway, a few months later, he became a significant player in the start of the book distribution boom in Los Angeles. So he had some kind of realization. He was like the main Sankirtan leader. He had some kind of realization and he began to spread it amongst others. And the others were thinking, ooh, this is a bit over the top. This is a bit fanatical. What was he telling? He was saying that in the Guru Vastak prayers, the verse, Nikunjayono Ratikenik Sitaya Yayali Bia Yukti Apekshariya. The spiritual master is assisting Radha and Krishna by helping to make tasteful arrangements for Radha and Krishna to meet in the groves in the Kunja Vrindavan. So, this Sankirtan leader was telling everyone that this verse applies to the Sankirtan devotees because they're always making arrangements for conditioned souls to reconnect with Krishna. So what was the reaction in the Los Angeles community? Ooh, way over the top. How can this verse apply to just book distributors? Yes, they're doing wonderful service, but Nikunja Unorati Sikaya Madhuya Rasa. No way. These fledgling devotees, full of youthful enthusiasm. No way that when we sing this song in the morning, we're referring to what they're doing. Are you kidding me? The controversy bubbled. And finally, they decided to ask Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada gave his definitive judgment. Yes, this is true. Then they began to glimpse the whole picture of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing. What we're doing, trying to assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through disciple succession. They got a glimpse into the internal dynamics of outreach. And how? By satisfying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order. That is the easiest way. In fact, the only effective way in this age of Kali to be able to grasp Radha Krishna Lila. Let's go back to the scene with Nrsingadeva's anger. It was causing a transcendental disturbance. The demigods headed by Lord Brahma, even though they were the executors of the Lord's desire, they didn't know what to do. They were afraid. Even though they're devotees, they were afraid. As Prabhupada points out in the purport, such pastimes as those of Nrsingadeva are certainly not meant to create a fearful situation for the devotees, but nonetheless, the devotees, being very simple and faithful, were afraid of the fierce incarnation of the Lord. Lord Nrsingadeva would not stop roaring. And his roar was enough to send elephants fleeing. It was affecting the whole universe. So Brahma, he's there. But he can't do anything about it. Lakshmi Devi herself, she was requested by the assembly of Devas, please step forward and pacify Lord Nrsingadev. But as Narada Muni explains, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmiji, was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present, who because of fear would not do so, but even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord, and thus she could not approach him. What's going to be done? Now there's a transcendental detail here, for those of you who like to accumulate such details. The Acharyas explain that Lakshmi Devi had seen Nrsingadev before. First of all, in a previous day of Lord Brahma. And secondly, she has seen Lord Nrsingadev in Vaikuntha, because Lord Nrsingadev has a place in Vaikuntha where he's always present. But Lakshmi Devi was covered by the Leela Shakti, the pastime energy responsible for managing the Lord's pastimes. So therefore, I've never seen this before. Everything is staged to give maximum rasa, maximum pleasure to the Lord and his devotees. So to increase the drama of the scene, Lakshmi Devi was covered by the internal, not the external, but the spiritual potency for managing the Lord's pastimes. And I've never seen this before. So that added to the intensity of the situation. She wouldn't step forward. So what was Lord Brahma going to do? He's the number one person in the cosmos in terms of management authority. No one can stop Lord Nrsingadev from roaring. Brahma knew there's only one option left. He turns to Prahlad and kind of puts it all on Prahlad. Prahlad, it's because of you that all this is happening. You know how it feels like when someone puts something on you. Someone tries to stick the situation on you. Prahlad, my dear son, Lord Nrsingadev is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please go forward and appease the Lord. Your father. It's your problem. Take ownership, Prahlad. Do something about it. So Prahlad, just a little boy, accepted Lord Brahma's request. And he went to Lord Nrsingadev and fell down at his feet. And then Lord Nrsingadev revealed his unlimited affection. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always affectionate, but sometimes untrained eyes cannot see that. Prahlad always saw that. The demigods were, however, terrified. Even though Nrsingadev's anger is not meant for the devotees, it's meant for the demons. Still, it was just too much for the devas, who are legitimate executors of the Lord's order. So Prahlad is going to make this point to Nrsingadev. Nrsingadev is going to touch Prahlad on his head. And then Prahlad is going to begin to recite his famous prayers. These prayers by Prahlad, Srila Prabhupada would lecture on several times. There's various parts of the Bhagvatam where Prabhupada would lecture more than others. There are parts where he would lecture on 2 and 3 times. Prayers by Queen Kunti, the real liberated woman. Prayers by Prahlad Maharaj, and also the Ajamil history. Srila Prabhupada stressed the Ajamil history, not simply because it's a near-death experience, we like the sensationalism, but that wasn't the main point. The main point is the glories of the holy name. So I remember being at the BBT, Srila Prabhupada gave some instructions about books being always in print. He said 1:1 should always be in print, and 2:1 should always be in print. This is before all the Bhagavatams where each canto occupy one volume. But for mass distribution, he said 1:1 and 2:1 should always be available as mass distribution books. And 6:1, the first chapters of the 6th canto, he said they established the glories of the holy name. Mass distribution book. I often tell the story how at the BBT we had this idea about science of self-realization, putting all Srila Prabhupada's articles together. And we did that. We made the first Science of Self-Realization back in 1976 or so. And the BBT trustee very happily sent it to Srila Prabhupada. Just see what we've produced. You've taken all your Back to Godhead articles and put them into one volume, which makes it easy for the reader, the non-devotee reader, to understand our philosophy. So what was Prabhupada's reaction? And he looked at the book and said, it's all right. The Bhagavatam is more important. Another book that Srila Prabhupada personally asked for was Teachings of Lord Kapila Deva. He was really insistent about that. He wanted that Sankhya knowledge, analyzing the material world so that you reach the root, the culmination, bhakti. He wanted that to be disseminated. Anyway, so Prahlad is now going to speak his prayers. And in his prayers, he's going to do a few things that you should pay attention to. First of all, know that Prahlad's prayers are coming from a complete focus on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A focus so intense you can call it a trance. His mind is so fixed and one-pointed. It's a samadhi. Now, material existence can also do that to you. The illusory energy of Krishna can put you in a trance. You're just fixed on satisfying your mind and senses. You're fixed on searching for happiness. You're a happiness machine and you're fixed on your targets. Just like you can see that here in Sydney. In order to make it in the big city, you've got to be focused and fixed, in trance. Where's the money? Where's the gratification? You've got to be alert, on your toes all the time for any slight diminishment, possible diminishment in your gratification. Then you're known as a successful, savvy person. You're always alert to new opportunities for gratification. It's one flow or the other. Prahlad is demonstrating the samadhi of complete focus on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then, in that situation, he begins to offer prayers. His prayers are described as prema gadgadaya. As he's offering them, his voice is shaking because of love. Everything about him is completely dedicated to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hridaya Ikshana, with heart and vision. His core being was totally 100% concentrated as he offered these prayers. So in his prayers, he's going to begin with humbly clarifying his own situation. How can I, born in a demoniac family, offer prayers to you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Just look at the situation. Even the demigods, headed by Brahma, they can't satisfy you, although they're so qualified. They're Sattva-dhamma. They're situated in the mode of goodness. But look at me. I've got demoniac blood running in my veins. I was born surrounded by asuras. I'm not qualified. This is Vaishnava. Not that I'm so qualified, when will other devotees notice? Have they all noticed my prowess, my spiritual abilities? No, Prahlad from the very beginning establishes the humility of a Vaishnava. Even though his prayers are super excellent, still he considers himself to be unqualified and fallen. When will this attitude be ours? The material energy, the flow of Maya makes us so keen to assert our glories. We're victims, let's face it, we're victims of a consumer society run by marketers whose life and soul is to make you feel inadequate. When you feel inadequate, you purchase, you consume to relieve those inadequacies. So in a consumer society, you're always having things pushed at you. After you've been made aware of your inadequacies. You don't have this, you don't have that. Everyone else has this, everyone else has that. Here's what will solve the situation. Just buy this, and your inadequacy will be solved. Because you want to feel good about yourself. Now some people say, what's wrong with feeling good about yourself? Are you Hare Krishna's killjoys or what? Remember those feelings when you were bathing in the illusory energy? I feel good about myself today. Yeah. Feel upbeat about yourself. Remember that? Yeah, things are working out. Yeah. Good weekend. That's considered healthy. But from the bhakti point of view, that's a disease. A real devotee always wants to live for Krishna's pleasure. How is Krishna feeling? I don't know any other happiness than when Krishna's desires are fulfilled. When Krishna is happy, that is my happiness. I don't have any other standard, no other definitions. What does the topmost devotee say at the end of Chaitanya Charitamrita Anjalila? It might sound crazy. It might sound just bizarre to our material senses. Or else we'll say, oh, that's just impossible. She prays to Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is taking her position and praying to Krishna. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to experience the position of Krishna's dearest devotee. So taking the emotions, the position, the stance of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays to Krishna. If my unhappiness makes you happy, then I won't call it my unhappiness anymore. I'll call it my happiness. Sounds really out there, doesn't it? Can you imagine saying that to someone? If you're happy by me being unhappy, then I don't call my unhappiness unhappiness. I call it my happiness. That's actually the standard of pure bhakti. And by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we can gradually develop toward that. So don't just dismiss it from your mind, like, I'll never get anywhere near that. Of course, Krishna's dearmost devotee is Mahabhava, an inimitable platform of love of Krishna. Nevertheless, we can get near that. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling you. You can get near this. What does Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explain in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Just one drop of pure love of Krishna is enough to drown the whole universe. Just one drop. So you could say, Srimati Radharani is the ocean of Krishna Prem. Inimitable. She's Krishna's pleasure potency, Radhini Shakti. Not a jiva, not an ordinary living. Nevertheless, as Kaviraj Goswami explains, if you just get one drop of that ocean, that one drop of pure love can drown the whole universe. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to engage in Krishna's service for his pleasure, and we're willing to do everything it takes to become qualified to do that. We are enthusiastic, we are patient, we are determined, as Rupa Goswami says in Sri Upadeshamrita. We are committed to a lifetime career of developing pure love. Gradually, we start to understand the impact of Srila Prabhupada's prayer when he first landed in the USA. Oh, no, this is from his Vyasa Puja offering to his Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Let me suffer for all the sins I've done. Let me suffer countless births. That's all right. Just let me always remember that I'm simply your servant. That is pure bhakti. What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? Mama janmani janmani sre bhavata bhakti oitikitra. Birth after birth, I don't mind. As long as I can have service at your feet. What kind of love is that? It sounds scary maybe, doesn't it? It's non-material. It can't be approached with our material senses. But by hearing about it, you become attracted. The more you hear about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, the more you become attracted to it. What to speak of, you hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy and you try to distribute it. Naturally, your attraction is going to increase. So Prahlad, the first thing he does, the first words out of his mouth, Sri Parada Uvacha. How is it possible for me to offer you prayers suitably? Look at my family background. All the best persons, they couldn't satisfy you with their excellent words. And I'm supposed to do that? I'm not qualified. And then Prahlad proceeds to elaborate on how material qualifications cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a simple act of devotional service can do that. So Prahlad is mercifully dispelling the notion that Krishna is attracted to material qualifications. Never become proud of your material abilities, material background. Krishna is not attracted to it. It's like I have to undergo the austerity whenever I'm doing university engagements. In order for, as a preaching technique and a preaching approach, the announcer always says, oh, here is Devamrita Swami, he is a graduate from such and such university. Now, if I think that that's got something to do with bhakti, then I'm deluded. At the same time, I understand yukta vairagya, whatever can be used in Krishna's service for Krishna's pleasure, go ahead and do it. So by the person saying that, the audience thinks, ooh, you must know what he's talking about. Okay. It's like a Sankirtan devotee, you know, with various things you say. The point is to deliver the medicine. But never think that Krishna is attracted by material qualifications. Whatever you have to offer with pure love. That's what attracts Krishna. We don't artificially renounce our abilities, but we know that it's all about the pure love, whether Krishna will accept or not. I remember at the BBT when Srila Prabhupada was touring, 1975, he came into my office. And I explained to him what my service was. And then the devotees, they began to speak to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, did you know this boy he's a graduate of such and such university? I said, oh no. Why are they saying this to Prabhupada? I just kept looking at Prabhupada's feet. I'm a fool, Prabhupada. Don't listen to them. I'm totally lost. Your lotus feet are my only hope. I just kept staring at his feet because I had read in the second canto of Bhagvatam that the proper way to approach the deity or a saintly person is first look at the feet. So I was doing that. I was just looking at Prabhupada's feet. And the devotees were going on like, Prabhupada came from such and such university. And to my astonishment, Prabhupada says, what was that? Oh no. I don't want Prabhupada paying attention to this. It's just all mundane. It's true, it's mundane, but Prabhupada's thinking there's something here that can be used for Krishna's service. That's what he was thinking. Not that this person in any way has any spiritual qualification because of academic past, but this could be useful in Krishna's service. So then I lifted my vision up from his feet and saw, Prabhupada's transcendental attention shift to something else. He's looking around my office. And then he fixed his vision on me and simply said, It's the only sound I ever heard from Srila Prabhupada. How would you go on with your spiritual life if that was the only sound vibration you heard from your guru? You'd be angry. He never talks to me. It doesn't answer my questions. I send him an email and he takes 2 weeks to reply. That's the ultimate sin, right? So what? If the only words that you heard from your guru were just a sound like that, what would you do? So, the point is, Prahlad is clearing out any notion that it's material qualification that pleases Krishna. And he points out that even if someone has Brahmana qualifications, still without being a Vaishnava, what's the use? So, he's establishing the purity of bhakti, and at the same time, he's presenting himself as fallen. Look, I was born in a demoniac family. Don't forget that. How can you think that I'm a great devotee? At the same time, Prahlad wants to do his service to the demigods by pacifying Lord Nrsimhadev. So he's reminding Lord Nrsimhadev, your anger is meant for the demons, but these are devotees, executors of your will. Your anger is not meant for them. So here is Prahlad, the tiny part and parcel of the Supreme, in love, doing his part, reminding Lord Nrsimhadev. These devotees are really shaken up. Your anger is meant for the demons, but they're not demons. Please cease your anger now. The great demon Hiranyakashipu has been killed. We take pleasure in that. Prahlad establishes. We take pleasure in your killing of the demon. Just like a saintly person takes pleasure when a snake or scorpion's killed. Wait a minute, how can Prahlad take pleasure in the killing of his father? But Prahlad is seeing with transcendental vision. My father was a horror story for the universe. So the supreme horror story appeared and finished him off. So he's celebrating Lord Nrsingadev's dispatching his father. And he quotes Shastra just to clarify that point. He doesn't say, I know that we should take pleasure in the killing of a snake-like or scorpion-like person. No, saintly persons. He is appealing to authority. Saintly persons, they do like this. Therefore, it is appropriate that I do like that. He knew, Prahlad knew, people would challenge. What is this? You're rejoicing upon the death of your father, and you're glorifying the killer of your father? What is this? Prahlad knew there'd be doubts. So he's quoting Parampara. Saintly persons do like this. And then he clarifies his own position about fear. I'm not afraid of Lord Nrsingadev and his appearance. I'm not afraid of Lord Nrsingadev's roaring. But I am afraid of something. If Prahlad is not afraid of Lord Nrsingadev, what is he afraid of then? I'm very much afraid of materialistic association. When will that moment come when you call me to take shelter at your lotus feet? I'm afraid of material association. In other words, Prahlad is not afraid of the material world in terms of its calamities and miseries. Let's be clear about that. He is afraid of the material world in terms of the bad association it offers. Specifically, by associating with non-devotees, it's natural that you'll develop aversion to Krishna. Because that's what material association does. It can start off very subtly. You may think, well, these people are not blaspheming Krishna. These people are not interfering with my spiritual life. So let me reveal my mind, listen to them reveal their mind. We'll mix freely. But gradually you're being coated by a relativistic attitude. Whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy, fine. You want to practice bhakti, great. You want to scuba dive, great. You want to party, great. You know, whatever helps you get through the day and night, you know. We support your beliefs, you support our beliefs. Yeah. Gradually, you become coated by that. And then your Maya consciousness starts to predominate and tell you, yeah, what's the fuss about, you know, being so strict? We call following the four-eyed principle strict. You know? That's a Kali Yuga version of strictness. Following the four-eyed principles, wow. And actually, it just makes you a human being. But we call it strict. So, in the association of non-devotees, you naturally start thinking, yeah, maybe loosen up a bit, be a bit flexible, you know. Not simply for yourself, so that you can help others be Krishna conscious. In order for them to be attracted to bhakti, they've got to see that you're, you know, like them. Yes, you're like that. It's a mercy mission. So, this process inevitably happens by association with non-devotees. And this is what Prahlad says he's afraid of. He's not afraid of the material world in terms of its disasters, its calamities, birth and death. He's not afraid of that. He's afraid of being contaminated due to bad association. He's revealing to you the magic of Maya and how the material world, in terms of unauthorized association, can bring you down. So this is what he presents to Lord Nrsingadev as his fear. O most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I've been put into the association of demons as a result of my activities. He's blaming himself. It's all my fault. I'm in the association of demons. And therefore, I'm very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. When will that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditional life? When will that moment come? This is the keenness, the eagerness of a real devotee. When will that moment come when I'll be called to engage more fully in devotional service? When will that moment come? All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions? Yes?
Thank you for the inspiration class. We were talking about devotional service, and you said the technique doesn't matter too much.
Sankirtan. It doesn't matter as much as the heart. But I also added, if you're intent on serving Krishna as best you can, you will learn all the proper technique so that you can properly carry out your heartfelt bhakti.
So that was my question. In the Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada was talking about the softness of the heart. And he says it can be hard like a thunderbolt or like lacquer, or it can be soft like butter or honey or nectar. And he says that the softer it is, the more receptive you become to devotional stimulus, which is put forth by Krishna. So, what is the internal dynamics of the devotee undertakes to make his heart softer?
That's the whole process of bhakti. Especially hearing and chanting is the basis of all devotional activities. When you chant Hare Krishna, you're calling out to Krishna. I can't believe I'm chanting the same holy name as the Panchatattva chants, but look what happens to them when they chant. Look what happens to me. So you're constantly calling out to Krishna, feeling inadequate about your chanting, whereas the material flow makes you feel inadequate about your material gratification. But just see how everything is switched. By being in the spiritual flow, we're feeling inadequate about chanting Hare Krishna. My heart is hard. When will that day come when you call me to devotional service? Lord Chaitanya expresses the inadequacy of a devotee. So unfortunate. Devamrita Swami SB. I've got no raga, I've got no attraction for the holy name. There is my inadequacy. You start feeling that inadequacy, and you'll be protected from the marketers running consumer societies. Otherwise, you're wide open. You can't be helped in Kali Yuga unless you take shelter of the holy name. So the whole process of bhakti is about making your heart soft. Forgiveness is an important quality of a devotee. It's amazing how sometimes devotees are the toughest persons to forgive. I'm a devotee, you did something to me. I'm a devotee, therefore I can't forgive. We don't want lumps in the heart. We want to be able to call out to Krishna with helplessness. So the whole process of bhakti is meant to make the heart soft, especially the basis, hearing and chanting about Krishna. And when you're trying to give Krishna to others, you will certainly call out to Krishna. You'll feel so inadequate. Why can't I help? Why can't I get them to understand? But you keep trying, and the heart becomes softer and softer. And Krishna uses you more and more. Anything else? Yes.
You mentioned how the mood we should develop is that my happiness or distress will become a happiness if I make Krishna happy.
That's the topmost level.
Yes, but we should still remember that.
Yes, we
Someday.
cannot imitate, but we can move in that direction.
I was just wondering if that actually means that a devotee never really suffers, even on a superficial level, or
Well, why do you think the most liberated woman, Queen Kunti, said, let these calamities happen again and again?
so there is no.
Would you ever say that?
I tried.
You tried, but you couldn't mean it. She's saying, in effect, the real calamity is Krishna's leaving. That's the real calamity. The battle of Kurukshetra is practically over. Krishna was with us through all the disasters. Now, it seems that the battle is over and Krishna is leaving us. That's the real calamity, not all the stuff that happened before. Not that someone tried to poison her family, burn down the house with her family inside, strip her naked in public. Those are not the calamities. The real calamity is that Krishna is leaving us now. So basically she's saying, let's let's invent some calamities so Krishna will stay. That's love. Yes.
Thank you very much. Just asking a question in regards to what you were saying earlier about we're trying to distribute the books and also cultivate people to read the books. I asked a question to the devotee once, Swami, that
Oh, you're trying to trap me.
No. Hoping to get some clarification of what you were saying. I asked him how it is that we can encourage people to want to read Srila Prabhupada's books. It seems like such a struggle to get people to read the book seriously. And Mr. Wood is telling me that really only persons with brahminical nature are going to be so excited about them, enthusiastic about them. Which I can understand theoretically, but perhaps you can help me understand more.
The devotee is merciful. Therefore, the devotee wants to make everyone enthusiastic, whether they're brahminically inclined or not. In Kali Yuga, everyone's born a Sudra. Kalo Sudra Sambhava. So yes, if you have some kind of brahminical tendency hidden deep down inside the Kali Yuga Guk, you might have an easier time wanting to read Prabhupada's books, or you could be puffed up and what do we need to read these books for? I know. Everyone's got their own opinion. It's actually good fortune. And that good fortune is created by the association of devotees. Just like Prabhupada told us. He said he created our good fortune. He created our piety. So by contact with a devotee, you can become inspired to want to read Bhagavad Gita. What does Krishna say at the end of the Gita? Don't give these instructions to anyone who's not austere, anyone who's not this, not that. Don't give it to anyone who's envious. Don't give it to anyone who's not a devotee. So what are we doing? Through parampara, we understand the real intent of Krishna, which is, he says, don't give it to persons who are not austere, don't give it to persons who are envious, don't give it to persons who are not devotees. So what do we say? Okay, let's make everyone a devotee, let's make everyone practice a little austerity, let's make everyone not envious, so we can give them Krishna. Give him his instructions. That people seem to not read these days gives us a chance for more service. We want them to read Prabhupada's books. So we see the lack of reading as a service opportunity. We create situations that inspire and encourage them to read. We even hold their hands practically as they turn the pages. How many times do I have to tell people? They say, oh yeah, I've got Bhagavad Gita. You know, I flip the pages from time to time, you know. So many people read that way, they just jump around. They don't even know how to read a book anymore. So I have to explain to them, and I say the same thing again and again. Do you have a Bhagavad Gita? Yes. Are you reading it? I just jump around a bit, or I just read the big word, the big type, the bold type. I said, here's how you do it. You want to know how to read Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, can you tell me? You start with page 1. And turn the pages until you get to the end. Wow! Then I become happy. Wow, amazing! That's how you read a book. You start with page 1. That's right. I said, and don't jump around. Just get to the end, and it'll all click. Maybe there's someone here I told that to. I don't know. So you might say, how many years am I going to have to say this? But we're so glad that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us an opportunity to assist persons. What better thing can I say? Preaching, outreach is not meant for me to demonstrate my vision of my own prowess. It's to do whatever is necessary to help these conditioned souls to reconnect with Krishna. Therefore, Nikunjayono Rati Keli Siddhaya Yayali Biya Yukti Apekshani. Start with page 1. Turn the pages, get to the end. All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare Krishna.